Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. I wanted to come on today and share with you a tutorial on making some bows using Alina's latest bow die, which is this one here. I sent her some photos of some bows I was making last night, and she asked if I would do a tutorial because she does get asked quite a bit for some. So I thought I would show you what I've done, what I've learned, and just having a play, sort of how things have gone for me, and then what you can kind of make with them. So to start, I'm showing you what you can make today using different fabrics. So these ones here are glitter fabric, so they're like a canvas, glitter on a canvas, and this is very thin. Now Alina may be stocking this in her store. She sent me these that she picked up from her local market. That she may start stocking, but she wanted me to trial run them and just see how they go. So these are the thinnest bits of fabric I've got, which in the world of using metal dies, this is really, really good. So a lot of bow dies you can get either in the steel rule, or sorry, I don't know, either this thin version, or you can get the big chunky ones for the big shot, or your die cutting machine that are really thick and deep, and they can kind of cut through almost anything. Obviously with the thin ones, you need to have a thinner material, and so I found that this stuff that Alina sent me is actually really good because it cuts quite clean, and is quite easy to use. So she sent me 4 or 5 colors, but I've stuck with pink and white today, and this is all I've got left because I've been making away. But it's on a canvas feeling material, and it's quite thin. So when she sent it to me, she obviously sent it rolled up, so it's kind of like that. So when I used it on my big shot, I used a bit of just some masking tape to kind of hold it down to my big shot because it kept curling up when I was trying to put the dies on, and then the dies were sliding down. So just to be aware, if you have some fabric like this, just make sure you, if you're struggling to get it on your big shot, then just use a bit of tape along the edges and just tape it onto your big shot platform, and that seemed to do the trick for me. So I've got that fabric that I've used, which is what I'm using to demo to you today. I also used this felt that I showed you I bought in previous haul videos. So I've used the felt, and you can see there it cuts straight through it, nice and clean, which is really good. And this is from AliExpress as well. Sorry, the light's going to be going dark and bright, because there's a lot of clouds in the sky, and the sun keeps coming through. So I apologize now that the video lighting will be a bit rubbish. Then I've got this one, which is quite a bit thicker, but it's kind of got like a plasticky top to it, and an almost felt fabric back. So it's not a canvas back, but it's like, I don't know if you can see the texture of it. It's kind of like a fabricy felt. And then this is quite like a plasticky feeling top, a very faux leather type top. And it cut through this just fine as well. So this was really good. And then this is a rainbow glitter sheet, and it is just a little bit thicker than the stuff Alina sent me. And it also seemed to cut through this all right. Now all of these I ran through 4 times. So I went through and then back and then through and then back, and then I took it out. You probably could get away with doing it maybe once or twice, but I just didn't feel like wasting fabric to find out it didn't actually cut. So I just did it 4 times. So I did those. And then I tried it on the chunky glitter. So if you remember this really chunky fabric, and it's canvas on the back, and it did not cut through. So you can see the outline image. But it was just far too thick to get through, so this does not work. And I mean, I could trace around that and cut it out, but I am way too lazy for that, and that is not how I craft. But yeah, so there's that one, and it did not cut through. Perhaps maybe if you try cutting from this side rather than this side, possibly it might work, but it is a lot thicker with all that glitter on the top, and you've only got that sort of depth to it, so that didn't work. Chunky glitter, not good. Then I've got this beautiful, stunning pink that I am in love with. And it's got like a very much a fabric back to it. And this did not cut either. So you can see it just nearly made it there, but the rest of it didn't, and I went through 4 or 5 times on this one, and it just wouldn't cut all the way through, so you got little bits, but I think this is just too thick. So this one also did not work. So with that in mind, I'm going to show you how I made these. I used some of Alina's jewels, these ones here. I also used some of these in my other ones that I've already made that I'll show you at the end. So what you need to do is run it through your Big Shot, and like I said, I went 3 to 4 times, just back and back and back and back, and I cut mine out. So I've die cut them all already because I didn't want to bore you with running things through my Big Shot. It's fairly self-explanatory. Now when you take them out, I found with this thinner material, sometimes you get the little frayed bits. I don't know if you can see that little frayed bit there. And you have the same on the middle, so they can kind of get a bit stuck. And so all I do when I take them out is I just kind of gently snip and follow the line when I take these bits out, and then that way you don't get the sort of frayed look. You could pull it, and I have pulled it, but then you get that kind of bits everywhere. So some of these little inner bits get a bit stuck, and same within these tight corners. But you just take your scissors and just trim off the little furry bits that have kind of come out. So you can see there's like a little one there. Camera, where are you? There's just a tiny one just there. So it depends how picky you are. So I'm going to pause now, and I'm going to cut and trim all my ones, and then I am going to hopefully figure out what kind of zoom I need to have on here, and I'm going to show you how I put them together. Okay, I'm back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. So I just trimmed off the little fuzzies from around all the edges. And one thing I wanted to point out that I remembered when I was doing it is you get one of these wings. So you do need to cut this one out twice. Everything else you just need one of, and you need 2 of those. So I'm going to start with showing you the white based one. So when you're going to make the bow, you'll need a background one, you'll need 2 wings, a top one, and then you need the little center bit. Now I'm going to zoom in a bit, and hopefully we'll be able to see. I've got my glue gun. I'll go back out again. So I use this IKEA plate, which is my children's old plate. So when it starts to wear down, I tend to save them. Go to IKEA, spend £1, get another pack of plates. But I tend to keep the plates, and this is my glue gun plate, obviously. I have a painting plate. I have like various ones that I use for various things. And then when it's just too full of glue, I can just chuck it in the bin and then use the next one, because we have several of these that we've kind of gone through. I've got this glue gun. It is a Bosch fine tip glue gun, and I have mixed feelings towards it. So the fine tip I don't really find makes much of a difference between a normal glue gun and the fine tip glue gun. I went with Bosch because it's got quite an industrial reputation. So all of our tools and drills and screwdrivers and things are all Bosch. So I thought this would be a good brand to go with. I may have got a slightly faulty one, I'm not sure. But if you can see on my glue gun nozzle, it tends to leak just there and drip out a bit. And I bought this one because it's apparently a no drip one, but as you can see on my plate, I've got big piles of where it's dripped all over the place. So at the moment it's not dripping too badly. It gets hot, the glue comes out hot, but I'm not sure 100% how I feel about this one. So if you're looking to buy a glue gun, I like it, but I haven't compared it with loads of others. So it's good, but it leaks a bit and seems to drip from the nozzle. So that's just a glue gun sort of little tutorial. But I've got this plate, and I just put my glue gun on it like that, and it can drip on there. I know you can get holders for glue guns, but I don't want to waste more money and then have something else I need to store in my office because I've got too much junk in there. So that's what I use. So to start, I'll zoom back in a little bit, and hopefully I'll be in the screen. I'm just a bit paranoid I'm going to burn myself because I'll be focusing on showing you how to do it rather than focusing on my glue gun. So to start, I put a little blob just here in the middle. This is how I do it. I find this the easiest thing. I don't know that this is the smartest. Someone else may have a better way of doing it. But I put a little blob of glue there, and all you're doing is just coming to the center and just kind of pinching it gently and trying not to burn yourself on hot glue. So just like that, and I've gone straight over, all the way over the center. So some bows, when you make them, I'm trying to think if I've got something here to show you. I think I've made them all up. Whoops, there goes my glue gun. So some bows, when you fold them to the center, what you end up doing is you have to kind of fold it just to the edge, and then fold the other one just to the edge, so that they're meeting in the middle, if that makes sense. Like somewhere like that. This one, you're going all the way over and then all the way over the top of the other one. And the easiest way to work out what you need to do in terms of gluing before you stick your glue down is just to fold one in half and just see, when it lines up perfectly, where that edge should be when it's lined up perfectly when you folded it right in half. That's the easiest way I've found to do it. Obviously, it's more tricky. You might have to waste one if you've cut it out of cardstock or paper, because you do need to properly fold it over just to see that it lines up. That's what I found anyways. Like I said, this is not my expertise, and I'm just learning as I'm going, so I'm showing what works for me, but it may very well not work brilliantly for you. Right, so I'll zoom in a bit more. So now I'm just going to put a bit of glue there on that edge. I'm going to use my left hand, so I'm trying to show you. Oh, my left hand doesn't work so well as my right. Just my coordination is not good. Right, so then we're just meeting again in the middle over the top of the other one. And I'm just trying to make sure I don't squish that edge down, because I want it to stay puffed open. So that's how you get your base. That's going to be the back of your bow, obviously. That's your front of the bow. If you can hear this humming noise, there's a giant fly in my living room. It's really winding me up. And I just hate it. Like, I have the back door open because it's a beautiful warm day. It's going to be 21. And now I've got flies in the house. Thanks a lot. Right, so I didn't line that one up very well. You can see there's a bit of an edge, but hopefully we won't notice too much when I puff these out a bit. Next thing I'm going to do is... right, which way am I going to do it now? I'm going to do the wings, and this one I'm going to show you in this direction. So I'm going to glue them down like that. This you need to be very careful with. I tend to put the glue on the wing. I just find that easier. So I've just got to remember that the wing is going over the edge. So I don't want to put my glue all the way down that edge, because it'll stick out. So I'm just going to put some glue along the middle. Oh, this is not working out so well with my glue gun. Bring that back over here so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to run a bit of glue along there, so you can see that. I'm trying to do all this without burning myself, and this cord from my glue gun is getting in the way. Right, so now I'm going to stick that on there and hope that it's lined up centered, because it's really difficult to see what I'm doing. And then hopefully it doesn't stick to that too much. There we go. Make sure you're using a surface you're not overly bothered about underneath if you're going to do it the way I'm doing it. So then we're going to repeat on the same on the other side. So you're turning your wing from the shiny side to the back, because you're going to glue it down on the back. So I'm doing this off camera now because I keep finding my glue gun is falling down. And you get loads of stringy bits everywhere, but all you need to do is just deal with those at the end. Glue everywhere. Well, this is so much harder when I know people are watching me. Even though I know you're not watching me live, it's still difficult knowing that you're going to see me doing all this. The nice thing about glue gun glue is you can generally rub it and then it just comes straight off. So there we go. So we've got those wings on. And then I'm going to stick this bit down. So make sure you've got the right way up. So you want to make sure it's got your glue bit, that glued bubble side is the side you're going to stick down. So you're going to just stick a bit of glue on there. Or you can do it the other way and stick the glue on top of the base. Again, I'm just trying not to make sure I don't get too much glue everywhere. So you're just going to pinch that down. And you can see the glue spilling out there, and that's fine because very quickly we're going to wrap this bit around. And this is where I feel like I've got giant fingers. So I'm going to put a blob of glue. Now, do you know what would actually make this easier? If I move my plate to the other side so I can use my right hand. Oh, sometimes I just don't think. Right, there we go. So I put it on like that. Oh, I'm not even in the screen. There you go, sorry. Put it on like that in the middle. Then I'm going to flip it over and I'm just going to put some glue just there and a bit there and a little bit on the back, trying to make sure it's not too much glue. Then I'm going to take this bit and try not to burn my fingers and just stretch it round and pull it through that hole. And I'm just pulling it nice and tight, because the tighter it goes, the neater it looks from the front. And I haven't found I've burnt my fingers yet, because generally the glue is already cooling by the time I do that. So the back looks a bit of a mess, but the front looks alright. Apart from that. Ignore that bit of glue. There we go. So given it's fabric, it can peel it off quite easy. So there we go. Then the next thing I do is I glue it onto the clip. I bought these alligator clips or crocodile clips from Amazon, but they came from China, so I'm fairly certain that they are on AliExpress. I'm almost certain I've seen them on there. And I've got the 2 different sizes, which I'll put on the screen below because I can't remember what they are offhand, so they'll be on your screen in a minute. I find these ones are a little bit too long, but I haven't got anything else to work with, so I just use those. So I'm going to stick that on there. What I find easiest is to put the glue on the clip and then put the bow on the clip. So I'm going to avoid putting glue at the far ends because that's the bit that pokes out. So I'm just going to stick some glue along the middle. And again, I don't want to use too much, but I do want this bow to stick to this clip. So there's my glue. I flip my bow over and then I kind of aim for the center. And you get a little bit of wiggle room and wiggle time, but not a heck of a lot. And then I'll just check that the front's all lined up. And because we haven't glued these petals down, you can stick your finger under there and give them a bit of a push. And so that is all on there. And then you can either leave it like this because it looks quite pretty, or you can stick an embellishment on. So I've got these jewels from Alina. And what I do is I hot glue them on as well, but I've also got the pearl ones, but I kind of think pearl and white just don't look great together. So they're all on one big sticky strip. So all I do, and I should have done this when I first got the pack, is cut them into strips. So I should just snip down all the edges, but just for this video's sake, I've just snipped one like that. And then I'm going to put glue in the center. And then I'm going to stick my little gem on top of that. And I use the hot glue because I find nothing sticks to glitter other than like hot glue or like super glue. So there we go. There's our clip. And I know some people will take and run that center bit inside the clip. But I've tried that and done that, and it was a nightmare to try and get to do. It was really tricky to hold that clip open and get it inside, just to kind of secure it more to the bow. So I haven't really worried about that, and I've just stuck it down just straight with glue. And I've made my daughter quite a few hair bows, and she's really happy. So that is version number 1. Now version number 2, I'm going to speed through. I'm not going to explain as much. I'm going to kind of just crack on. And then I will show you and explain to you when we get to the end what the difference is. So I'm going to speed through this bit. Right, at this point I'm now gluing it straight onto the back rather than putting the wings down. I'm putting it straight on to the base first. And I'll clean up all this stringy stuff. I'm really bad with the stringy stuff. Then what I find easiest for this method is to line these up first. And this is where it'd be really good to make sure you are not on a surface that you care deeply about. So I line them up like this. Let's get it in the center. So I line them up right next to each other, nice and tight, like so. So I'm going to make sure there's no gap. Then I'm going to run glue on one side and on the other side. And hope to heck they don't start coming apart on me. And then I stick this bit right down in the middle. And the glue is going to squidge out and it will go all over your surface if you're not careful. So I've stuck it down like so, just across those two. Then I'm going to take my middle bit and do the same as I did before, where I'm going to put a blob of glue, blob of glue, and stick that down in the middle, flip it over, then glue along the back, and then pull one tight, pull the other one tight, attempt not to burn your fingers. String bits everywhere. Hopefully you saw all that on camera, because it's really hard to do the hot glue and pay attention to what I'm doing in the front. So there's the bow, and just give it a little squish to puff it back up again. Then again, same thing, a bit in the middle. Stick it on. And then you can either leave it blank or pick a jewel. And that is my two different ways of making the bow. So you've got the wings up or the wings down. And then, I'll get the glue gun out of the way and I'll show you what else I made. So these are the two we made today. Then I did the same thing, I made a matching pair. So if you cut it out twice, then you can kind of do like these kind of funky pairs where because you can use the opposite colors with each other and you get two bows out of it if you cut it twice. But do remember you need to do the wings an extra 2 times. So these are like silicone feeling flowers that I got from, I'm trying to think of the name now. They came in this pack like this. It's Sorrentino, I think is how you say it. They're a craft brand, so I just had these resin kind of, they like almost feel rubbery flowers, and I wanted to use some of them up because I bought a few packs of those. So I used the blue roses. I'll zoom in a bit. So I did those two. Then I did a set of sort of mermaid looking ones in blues. So I used that, another variation. I've got 2 different variations of this one with like fake printed glitter, and then this one. And so that's the other one that I used was there. And then I used Alina's jewels to kind of top them off. And that was with the bows both going the same direction. Oh, not the bows, the wings. Then I did ones without the wings. And they're just a little bit smaller. And then these ones I used the little clips for. On those, so they're just like little fringe clips, I think. You can tie back your fringe or your bangs, whichever way you would say it. So I did those ones. And then I had some spare leftover ones because I had to cut out some extra bits. So I just did one extra little like fringe bow. So yeah, that's what I made with all of these. So thanks for joining me. I hope you had fun. And I hope you come and join me again. Take care. Bye.